Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for today's special webinar featuring our brand new lead timeline view in Construction Online. I'm Holly Gibson, Senior Product Specialist here at UDA Technologies, joined by my colleague Jordan Davis, also Senior Product Specialist here at UDA.
Hello, everyone. We're really excited to show off some new advancements to our lead tracking tool today.
Yeah, this will be the first look for many of you for the latest advancement in sales management tools in Construction Online, and we just can't wait to show you. Your team is going to love this new timeline view. We definitely love it here at UDA. Now, for those of you who are new to UDA or Construction Online is the #1 cloud-based construction software for general contractors, builders, subcontractors, really anyone in the building industry. It's trusted by over 650,000 users all over the world and in more than 80 countries, managing about $80 billion in projects every single day. So you definitely are on a winning team there with Construction Online, and we're always looking for ways to increase the value that you get out of Construction Online and really help you grow your business.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Holly. When Construction Online was first created and when we first were releasing the platform, there weren't any lead tracking or sales management tools really built into the platform, at least not in the more formalized setup now. But over time and really listening to our clients and finding out, well, what can we do, what can we provide to give the best project management platform in the world, we found, well, the project doesn't just start at the project itself. There's a lot of setup and a lot of effort that goes into a project even before you win the job. We can really be proud of the fact that everything we're building in lead tracking is coming from client feedback. Now, speaking of client feedback, Holly and I really enjoy running interactive webinars. And so to that end, I would like to point you all to the GoToWebinar panel where there's a section for you to submit questions. Now, Holly and I are going to be keeping an eye on the questions panel as we move through the topic today. Of course, the lead tracking and sales management updates we're showing today are a little more streamlined and are really easy for us to show off. So we'll be keeping an eye on those questions and answering those in a question and answer section at the end of the webinar today. That all being said, go ahead and familiarize yourselves with where the questions panel is and start sending those questions our way. We're excited to answer them for you towards the end of our stream today.
Now, as we get started looking at the brand new lead timeline view in Construction Online, we'll really be looking at a few key areas where we have made Construction Online sales management tools better, faster, easier for you and your sales team to use. So we'll take a look, first of all, at the new timeline view overall with entries for events, call logs, notes, messages. Really everything related to that lead is going to show up in an easy to use timeline for you. We'll look at how this also gives you easier data entry for things like lead details, stages, values, assigned sales reps, as well as ongoing information about your lead. We'll look at some brand new filters that will only show you the type of information you're looking for. So when you need to go in and drill down really quickly, that's going to be fast and easy for you to do as well as a brand new notes tool, which will allow you to quickly add details or files to your leads as you're in the process of working with potential customers. Often we want to just come in and put in a quick note, and this brand new tool will allow you to do that really easily.
Now, before we get started, this is a really nice callback to our webinar last week, Holly, where we were discussing some of the top mistakes that we've seen construction companies make throughout their daily and weekly processes. And the last item that we highlighted was exactly this, taking advantage of and using tools to keep your lead or your potential project pipeline full or growing. I've been hearing from a lot of our clients recently that business is starting to pick back up all across the country and really around the world as we're moving into the second half of 2020. And now more than ever, keeping track of your potential projects, potential leads, potential new sources of revenue and business is incredibly important as things start to ramp up, or if you're in the situation now where you're very busy, you just can't lose sight of your future projects and your future clients. You can't sacrifice the future for sticking with what you're doing right now. It's a trap and a tendency that too many people fall into to just get lost in the day to day. But I think that the changes we're making and the updates we're bringing to the table with our sales management tools are really going to make it easy for whatever size team and really whatever type of business you're running to have more insight into exactly what's going on with each one of your potential new leads, new customers, and new projects. Whether you're tracking just a few key business entities to see who's going to land you that next large contract, or you're someone who's keeping up with hundreds and hundreds of leads trying to find out, well, who's the most qualified, which potential customer should we work with next.
Yeah, so I've worked with customers at Jordan who are managing over 10,000 leads. I've worked with customers who are managing about 20 or so leads or potential projects at a time. And really, one thing that they have in common, no matter what that volume looks like, is the value that they'll get out of lead tracking and the importance of doing that well for the future growth of their business. It's so easy to focus on the projects that you have going now, but really, no matter what type of business, where you are, whether you're in a really heavy growth stage and super busy, or really prospecting thoughtfully for the future. In both cases, having a well-established lead pipeline and a process for your sales team to follow in making sure that those leads are followed up with regularly, that you know exactly which type of jobs are going to be best for your business, and that you're closing that at a rate that makes sense for your company. Lead tracking is going to give you the tools to be able to do that well and efficiently, as well as the information to be able to make great decisions about where you're going with your company.
And that's exactly the purpose of the lead timeline that we've added in. It really is to give that quick and simple and easy to understand view of exactly what has occurred with a specific lead, where they are in their stage, and really giving your sales team or you better insight into, well, what have we already communicated to this person? What do we know about them? And what do we need to do to get them to the next stage in our sales process?
Yeah, so you'll notice there is a brand new option now when you click on or select one of your leads. So this is all going to be located, of course, within that sales management area of ConstructionOnline. And as always, you do have your lead pipeline and lead list available to you, and you can still go in and manage your leads that way. But with this brand new timeline view, you'll notice now that I've selected one of my leads that I have some additional information now available front and center. One of the biggest differences with this new view for individual leads, of course, is the timeline, which is something that I find so useful in working with customers. It allows you and your sales reps to see really at a glance what's coming up for a lead, what's recently happened with the lead, and everything that you're doing associated with this lead or potential customer is just automatically lagged to that timeline there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can see we've added a lot of really rich information, not just a snapshot of the person's contact information and really where they stand in the pipeline, but you can see all the information we've been gathering for this particular potential customer is available right here front and center. We can see contact information like their email address, which we could use to launch a quick message. We can see their phone and or cell phone number if we needed to go ahead and reach out in a phone call. And we've added some interesting and easy ways to actually update and change and address information as we learn more. For those of you who are very intensely familiar with the process of sales prospecting, you'll know that sometimes the information that you have when you're working with a lead isn't all the way there yet until you maybe have that first or second conversation. But as you begin to build a better picture for the particular potential customer you're working with, you can easily and quickly update that information in this timeline view. Not only is this showing you activity that's happened in the past, the new lead timeline view that we've set up here gives you the ability to update information as you continue to work through your sales process.
That's right. It'll also show things that are coming up in the future. So when we look at managing our leads, very often when we're looking at an individual, what we want to see is what activity has recently happened, what has our team done for this lead, and then what's coming up, what needs to be our next step. So if we have things like callbacks or meetings set up in ConstructionOnline, once you add those in for that lead, you'll notice that immediately shows on the timeline as an upcoming activity, and these are actionable. You can come in and check these off right on the timeline itself. always see what's upcoming, always see what's recently happened, and anything like notes or files that have been added are really accessible to the sales rep or a sales manager or owner, anyone else who's coming in and looking at the timeline view for individual leads here. Now, we've also done some things on this page to help with data entry as well. So not only do we want you to be able to see the information, but also work with it in the course of updating your lead. Often, we're moving them through stages or reassigning a rep or updating things like the potential value. So we want to make sure that you have an easy way to do that.
Yeah, and as where you're working with the lead, really almost everything that you see on the page can be edited or changed. Let's say that we're able to get in touch with Aaron today, and we wanted to go ahead and note down that we were able to, connect with him in a phone call. Great. Well, we can go ahead and open up a new call log and post that information. Let's say that in the process of this phone call, we find out, well, they're really moving towards contract. They really, really are enjoying working with us. They think that we are the company of choice to work with here. Well, let's say that we do end up submitting a proposal to Aaron and he's ready to move forward. Well, we can quickly adjust not only upcoming events, but we can move him directly into the next stage, which would be, well, we've won the contract at this point. Or let's say there's some type of snag, which could happen. We could quickly and easily shift Aaron's stage backwards to begin, moving him back through the process, whatever it takes to really win this job. And we've worked really hard to make sure that not only are the main lead details accessible, but the general information can be accessed and edited as well. So if you're not too sure yet about Aaron's actual address when you're first working with this new lead, well, you can jump right in and add that information in on the spot. Really, Holly, the intention here is that a sales rep, or really anyone driving a sales process, could land on a specific person's page and without leaving this page, do what they need to do to interact with this lead and move this lead forward through their sales process.
That's right. Everything right here on one page, and you see how easy it is to actually come in and update this information. And that includes things like updating the stage for opportunities that may be associated with those leads as well. So really everything that you see on the new lead timeline view and page is actionable by you and your team. So it's really increasing efficiency and giving you so much more visibility into where everything stands with our lead Aaron here. One nice thing as well is that this information begins to build as soon as you create a new lead. So if we look at leads that were created a while back, like our lead Aaron here, it looks like we've been kind of following up with him for a while, because sometimes that is what it takes to be able to close business. Not every sales cycle is going to be 2 weeks. So very often you'll have a history that goes back over the course of several months or even beyond a year. We'll be able to see all of that history, and that history begins building the second you create a brand new lead.
Yeah, and that's right. And you don't have to do anything special to trigger a new lead timeline. ConstructionOnline is going to be compiling and building this information for you as you and your team continue to work with your new leads and to input those new leads into the system. Now, something that we are really excited to show off as well is a newly built and newly designed notes feature. Now, call logs have been around in our lead tracking system for a while. We know that, of course, at some point you're probably going to engage with someone over the phone. Now more than ever, as in some places face-to-face meetings might have trailed off somewhat, in other places not so much. But something we're really excited to show off is not just entering in a log for a call. We've also added in some new and exciting tools to note down different pieces of information that might not be a call. This could be a quick update or a recording that you wanted to make of an email that you received, for instance, or let's say that some type of information flows in from somewhere else in your team to really flesh out the details for this specific lead. Well, not only can you enter in the notes here, what also is interesting about this is that you can add in attachments as well. So potential sketches or mock-ups or potential photos or renderings. You can put all of that information directly into the lead timeline now and access that information really instantly for one, or multiple leads as you're moving through and working through your lead pipeline. And of course, creating a new note is incredibly simple. There's a button dedicated to creating new notes just underneath the lead's name in the top left of the timeline. Once you've actually added in a note, you'll have the option to do things like add files and photos, as we discussed a moment ago. And of course, previewing those attachments is very, very straightforward. Just like in other areas of Construction Online, you could simply double click on the images or files and you'll see a really big and beautiful preview open right up.
You will, yeah. So it will give you all the benefits of using attachments, that you see elsewhere in Construction Online. We can pull up a photograph or a document. We can edit the photo. You can, do everything that you would expect to be able to do elsewhere, now all right from that single lead page. So as we're building out potential projects, often that does start to include a ton of documentation. So you're able to pull that right into your notes, along with any other notes or reminders that you want yourself or others on the team to know about working with this potential customer. Now, the other thing that you'll notice is new on the timeline is, in addition to your combined timeline here, which will be your default view, we have built in some filters that will allow you to really drill down and see maybe only the information that you need. So if you need to only see lead events, perhaps, upcoming or previous meetings, things like callback reminders, that sort of thing, that's going to be located in your lead event area. So that will give you a view of only those lead events. If you begin taking great advantage of that brand new notes feature and adding in a ton of notes, you may want to filter out, the events and call logs and really just come in and look at the notes. And so this will give you a way to do that here. Of course, if you're most interested in seeing things like the call logs, then you'll be able to come in here and see only a list or history of all of the phone calls made to this particular lead. So it's really easy to not only get a comprehensive view of what's going on with the lead, but be able to see filtered views of just those certain pieces of information that are going to be most relevant to you, including related opportunities. So at this point, we don't have any opportunities for this lead. If we wanted to come in and make one, we could do that right here. And that's also going to begin showing on our timeline view for our potential customer, Adam, here.
Yeah, and the benefits of this, Holly, in my mind, are really quickly refreshing exactly what you need to know about a particular lead, especially when you are moving rapidly from person to person, or if you're switching from another responsibility that you have at your company to working with and building out your lead pipeline. Sometimes, in the heat of the moment, it's easy enough to really lose some of the critical information in the whirlwind of your daily tasks. But the new lead timeline features and filters really help you drill down and get a quick snapshot of exactly what you just discussed with that person, maybe even as soon as last week. I can speak from personal experience here. Sometimes when you're working with quite a few different people, it's just simple enough to begin to mix things up if you're not documenting properly. This really helps cut down on the risk of losing critical information about a particular person and gives you a much faster way of finding that information exactly when you need it.
So there's so much about this brand new lead timeline view that I've really enjoyed using and working with. I think now is a good time, Jordan, for us to circle back to some of the questions that we've seen begin to come in here. And so this would be a great time for you guys as well. If you have questions for us about how to best use the brand new lead timeline or sales management tools within Construction Online, definitely go ahead and send those our way. We'll take a few minutes here to go through some of the questions that have already come in.
Now I can see it looks like someone had asked, well, is there a way to run a report on a lead? I think this is a pretty common question. We might want to pull some of the information for the lead out of the platform.
It is, and it's such a great question. Construction Online will give you a couple of really wonderful report options. So if we're looking at just an individual lead, you'll notice that there's actually now a print button as well for you to use. And what this is going to do is give you the ability to print up a lead summary report. So this will take all of the information about this lead and then go ahead and put it into a PDF report for you. These can be great for bringing to things like your team meetings or sales meetings where maybe a sales manager or owner really wants to see a detailed view of a couple of the hottest leads that you have coming up, who all we're expecting to close. It can be great documents for handoff, and so you can print information for just this individual lead. The other report option that you have, which I really love, is under your lead sales reports. Here you can do a more high-level breakdown of leads by things like source or sales rep, just to get some insight into how different lead sources are performing for you, as well as how your reps are performing. Look at things like, conversion rates, see, how much money you have in each, maybe type of project. So a lot of information that you can get by using the lead tracking reports. Now, if you're looking for just a report on this individual lead, you'll notice now what I've done is just generate that lead summary view here. It's going to give me all of my critical information about my lead, including, contact details, lead stage, as well as that timeline of events in terms of, when we've done things like open the lead, meetings that we've had, callbacks that we've done, and any related opportunities.
I have another question coming in. Someone is asking, how do the notes or files follow through from a lead to, say, a potential project or opportunity, and then later on when the job is sold or when you've landed the contract for the job? I really like this question because in addition to some of the lead timeline updates, we've also made sure that a lot of information that you're able to track now pulls through from the lead into a new opportunity. I really think this is something that is going to be done very well whenever you're actually working with a lead, especially when you're adding in those top level notes for a specific lead, or even just location information about where a potential project is located. Instead of needing to retype that information into a new opportunity, well, whenever you're actually creating the opportunity, you'll see that a lot of that information is now carrying forward into the opportunity itself. Now, of course, in the opportunity, there is a section for storing and saving files from the opportunity or for the opportunity in particular. We typically see potential contract documents saved into that place, as well as plans, drawings, as you begin moving through the final closeout phases of the opportunity just before you move it into the project. All of this information is going to be stored within that specific opportunities files section. And from that point, when you actually convert the opportunity into a fully fledged project, that information will be carried forward with no extra effort whatsoever.
It will. So you'll notice as I'm creating the opportunity here, so much of that lead information was already populated for me on the opportunity form. We'll also see that as I've created the opportunity here, I can see that timeline beginning to grow. So I can see the opportunity was created, the lead was added to the opportunity. And then if we do want to dive in and look at some of the opportunity details here, we have an easy way to get to that and begin building out perhaps an estimate or additional files or things like that for our Miller offices or whatever opportunity we're working on.
Yeah, and of course you can really boost your efficiency if you're using something like a project template before you transition over into a fully fledged opportunity, because this is going to quickly build out a file and folder structure for you if you've taken the time, like we typically recommend, to add that sort of structure to your project templates.
Let's see, it looks like there are several other really great questions coming in. One person here wants to know just where the attachments come in, or where can you add attachments, or where would we recommend doing that. Let's jump back to our lead timeline and we'll just review where you can add those. One exciting thing that we are adding in already to the brand new lead timeline view is going to be an attachments tab, much like the other tabs that we saw. So as we begin to add in attachments, you'll also have a new dedicated place for viewing those as well. So you can expect to see that coming soon in a future update. But really, you can add attachments to several different places throughout the lead. So that's going to be available on your notes, as well as events and call logs. So really, no matter what type of activity you are needing to log for that lead, there will be an option, for you to include some attachments there, and those will always preview on the timeline for you for easy access.
Someone is asking, can you add videos into the attachments field? Yes, you absolutely can. Something that's really exciting about this is that we've built in a lot of different handling components to our attachments, so that when you're actually previewing the attachment, you can place, say, videos recorded from your iPhone or iPad, or videos recorded from your Android device, or from a more traditional camera, or in a really exciting case, those 360-degree cameras. We actually have built in a way for you to view 360-degree photos as well. Now, at this stage, you might not actually have a 360-degree photo, but if you're going out to a job site visit and that's something that you wanted to pull in and capture from the beginning, that's definitely doable. And it can really save on, the number of pictures that people need to sort through, and can really give you some great insight. This is something I've picked up from a consultant we've worked with recently, who suggested that the 360-degree photos can really capture a lot of data that you'd have to replicate with probably 15 or 20 pictures at least.
Oh my gosh, at least. And they're so impressive to clients. One thing that I found with the 360 photos or video content that you might add as you're working with clients is that they are really useful for your team internally, because they can convey a lot of information, often more so than kind of a standard photograph, although those can convey a lot of information as well. But they're also really impressive for clients. So as you start building this out, and think about this lead becoming an opportunity and becoming a project and becoming something that, may be shared through a client portal, clients usually really love that type of content. The 360 photos are really cool for them to look at. The videos just provide so much information. So that's a wonderful idea, and definitely that is supported as part of the sales process here as well.
And typically you can't email those files. They're usually a little too large. 360 photos, maybe, depending on the camera and the quality. But videos, unless they're 5 to 10 seconds, you're probably not going to be emailing those. At most, you might be sending them via a text message, which we all know is a black hole of potential possibilities to just lose or forget. And so this is really an interesting opportunity that opens up, no pun intended, for those of you who've wanted to share this information in the past but haven't really found a great way of doing it because the person you're working with doesn't have the right program installed to view this video, or you don't really want to, wrestle with uploading a video to some type of video hosting website. This is something that we can really take off of your plate, and we really handle very well for you.
Yeah, it really is. It's a wonderful tool. Now, it looks like we have someone also asking just about the lead process itself, and if that's something that can be customized a bit to their business. And it absolutely is. So when you're looking at the timeline here, and you can see things like lead sources, lead stages, those are, of course, all things that are easy to update on this timeline view. If we come back here to our main lead page, one of the things you'll notice when you're looking at your lead stage pipeline is you'll have a little gear here. And so this is where you can really come in and, of course, make the sales management tools in ConstructionOnline your own. So here you can do things like customize your lead stages to really match the process for how you and your sales team work. You can customize the sources that you're tracking. One of the goals here would be, of course, for you to better understand maybe what lead sources are most successful for you, where you want to spend your marketing dollars or pre-sales energy. So you'll be able to customize the sources and track that really well. And then different lead types available also. So that is something that you can customize, and it's really just as easy as filling out these sections and then turning them on or off with a check mark. So it's an easy way, but yet very powerful to be able to customize this process to, how you and your team do business. Now it looks like, Jordan, we do have a couple of additional questions here that we can address. One is just also a question about handoff between sales reps. So we'll just jump back into our lead here and show you how to do that. But as you're working with the lead on the timeline, the sales rep is one of the options available for you to go ahead and update. This is going to populate a list of your users. So, in this case, Natalie here is our sales rep. If we wanted Jordan to be our sales rep, it's really easy for me to come in and update that. And then, of course, as you're making those moves and changes, when you're looking at your lead pipeline as a whole, you do have the ability, of course, to filter down by specific sales reps or, mass reassign leads if you need to reassign an entire batch, to someone else. So that's all available to you on your lead pipeline view as well. And some of those filters you can see here. Really any of the information that you might track for individual leads all comes together here on your lead pipeline view, and then we could come in and look maybe for only a certain sales representative if we wanted to just see Jordan's leads, or if I just want to see my own, we can set that up really easily here, as well as anything else you might be tracking for your leads. And it looks like the last question, and a couple of people have asked this one, is a question that we get almost all the time, I think, when we do these webinars for new features: is this available for me? And so just to, so that everyone here, if you're already using Construction Online, these tools are already available within your Construction Online account. So you'll just head to your sales management section, jump into your lead tracking, and you'll notice now that when you click on one of those leads, you'll have this new view. Of course, we've taken all the history and all the work that you've already put into managing your leads and compiled that for you. So there's nothing special you need to do to activate it or turn it on. It's all already going to be available for you here.
Yeah, and that's right. And if for whatever reason, the lead name that you're working with, and this is going to be accessed from the name column, is all the way, let's say, over here, because you're looking at other information and you've rearranged or customized your view and you don't want to scroll all the way to the right, you can also get into the lead timeline for each lead just by right-clicking on the lead and selecting View Lead Timeline as well. Very straightforward.
So with that, I think that wraps us up for lead timeline. Jordan, let's take a look at some of the upcoming workshops and sessions that we have available over the next couple of weeks. I'm really excited for next week's webinar. We'll be talking about the 3 most common objections to software adoption by construction teams, and giving you some strategies for how to overcome those, how to really successfully implement with your team.
Yeah, that's right. We have a lot of experience helping construction teams really break away from the traditional notepad to Excel, to whatever process they've worked on in the past. And if you are having some type of resistance, or you're just not able to get, if you've ever heard the phrase, well, the teams just aren't using it because insert reason here, well, we'll be helping you address those reasons and really help your teams become much more effective and efficient, really moving into the 21st century, finally.
Finally, yes. After that session, we do have a couple of additional new feature spotlights that we're really excited to bring you. The first one will be on Thursday, June 25th, looking at the brand new customizable tax settings for estimates and financials in Construction Online. Then we will take a first look at new chat channels for Envoy. So Envoy Chat is a wonderful communication tool, of course, for you and your team, and we've built in some brand new channels and project channels for you to take advantage of. So really exciting things coming up, new features coming your way. We hope you'll be able to join us at these upcoming sessions.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to take advantage of Envoy Chat, you should definitely attend our webinar next week as almost a prerequisite to help your team understand why they should move away from writing down things on a piece of paper, or sending an email, maybe, or not, or sending you a text message. If you can get them away from that and into using Envoy Chat, not only are you going to be able to log that information to the platform, but it's really going to help increase the speed at which you're communicating across the board. But first, you have to get people used to the idea of using technology and software first, and that's what we're here to help you do. So, as always, thank you all so much for your time. We enjoy showing off new features that we're building for you. If we didn't address your question today, we're sorry we ran out of time, but we will address those after the webinar, and we really hope to see you soon.
Thanks again, everyone. Have a great afternoon.